Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there is very likely something sitting on your counter or in your fruit bowl that you would never in a million years think could hurt your dog. And yet, every single year, thousands of dogs end up in emergency vet clinics because of it. I'm not talking about chocolate. I'm not talking about anything with a warning label. I'm talking about foods that seem completely harmless, foods you might even consider healthy, foods you've probably eaten in front of your dog 100 times without a second thought. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 of these foods, what they actually do inside your dog's body, and exactly what to do if your dog accidentally gets into one of them. Stick with me until the end because number 3 on this list surprises almost every single dog owner I talk to. Before we get into it, if you want to keep learning how to protect your dog from hidden dangers most owners never think about, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button and tap like on this video right now. It genuinely helps this channel keep making free, life-saving pet safety content, and it takes 2 seconds. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with number 1, and this one genuinely shocks people every time: grapes and raisins. On the surface, this makes absolutely no sense. Grapes are a fruit. They're natural. They're something we consider a healthy snack for ourselves, so it feels completely reasonable to toss one to your dog as a treat. But here's the reality. Grapes and raisins can cause sudden, severe kidney failure in dogs, and here's the part that makes this so genuinely dangerous. Veterinarians still don't fully understand exactly why it happens or exactly how much it takes to cause a problem. Some dogs have eaten a whole bunch of grapes and been completely fine. Other dogs have eaten just a small handful and ended up in kidney failure within 24 to 72 hours. Because there's no safe, predictable amount, the standard veterinary advice is that dogs should never be given grapes or raisins at all, not even as an occasional treat. This includes raisins hidden in things like trail mix, granola bars, and baked goods like oatmeal raisin cookies, which people often don't think twice about leaving within reach. If your dog does get into grapes or raisins, the early signs of trouble can include vomiting, lethargy, and decreased appetite within the first 12 to 24 hours. But by the time those symptoms show up, kidney damage may have already begun. This is genuinely one of those situations where, if you know or even suspect your dog ate grapes or raisins, don't wait and watch. Call your vet or an emergency animal poison control line immediately, because early treatment makes an enormous difference in outcome. Number 2 on this list is something that's in almost every single kitchen in America: onions and garlic. And this includes every form: raw, cooked, powdered, and even the tiny bits left in leftover soup, sauce, or gravy. Onions and garlic belong to a plant family that contains compounds which damage a dog's red blood cells, leading to something called hemolytic anemia, where the body essentially starts destroying its own oxygen-carrying blood cells faster than it can replace them. What makes this one especially sneaky is that garlic and onion powder are hiding in so many processed and prepared foods, seasoned meats, certain baby foods that people sometimes use for sick dogs without checking labels, pizza, and plenty of takeout leftovers. A dog would generally need to eat a meaningful amount relative to their size for this to become dangerous. A small lick of pizza sauce isn't going to cause organ failure, but consistent small exposures over time, or one larger exposure like eating a good portion of an onion or a dish loaded with garlic, absolutely can. Symptoms often don't show up right away either, sometimes taking several days to appear, and can include weakness, pale gums, rapid breathing, and reddish or dark-colored urine, which is actually a sign of those damaged blood cells being filtered out. If you suspect a significant exposure, this is another one where getting your vet involved quickly matters far more than waiting to see what happens. Number 3, and this is the one that catches almost every single owner off guard: xylitol. If that word doesn't sound familiar, I promise it's sitting in your house right now in more places than you'd expect. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener used in sugar-free gum, sugar-free candy, certain peanut butters marketed as low sugar or diabetic friendly, some baked goods, protein bars, toothpaste, and even certain medications and vitamins. In humans, it's considered a safe, popular sugar substitute. In dogs, it is genuinely one of the most dangerous everyday substances out there, and here's why. In dogs, xylitol triggers a rapid, massive release of insulin, which causes their blood sugar to crash dramatically within just 10 to 60 minutes of eating it. This can lead to severe hypoglycemia, seizures, and in higher doses, acute liver failure, sometimes within just a day or two. What makes this especially terrifying is how small an amount can cause a problem. A single piece of sugar-free gum can be enough to seriously harm a small dog. This is exactly why I want you to get in the habit of flipping over the label on anything sugar-free before it ever ends up within your dog's reach, especially peanut butter, since so many people use peanut butter to hide pills or stuff inside a puzzle toy, completely unaware that the healthier sugar-free version they grabbed could be lethal. If your dog eats anything containing xylitol, this is a genuine emergency. Don't wait for symptoms. Get to a vet immediately because the window for effective treatment is very short. Number 4 is avocado. And I know this one might surprise some of you, especially with how popular avocado has become as a healthy fat in human diets. Avocados contain a compound called persin, which in large amounts can cause vomiting and diarrhea in dogs. The good news here is that dogs are actually less sensitive to persin than some other animals. So a small accidental bite of avocado flesh generally isn't going to send your dog into an emergency situation the way grapes or xylitol would. However, the real danger with avocado isn't usually the fruit itself, it's the pit. Avocado pits are large, hard, and round, and they pose a serious choking hazard and an even more common risk of intestinal blockage if swallowed. An intestinal blockage is a genuine surgical emergency, and it's one of the most common reasons dogs end up needing emergency abdominal surgery. So while a small taste of plain avocado flesh is unlikely to be a major crisis, keeping avocado pits, and honestly the whole fruit, safely out of reach is still the smart move, especially in households with dogs who tend to swallow things whole without chewing. And finally, number 5. Something that seems like the most natural, wholesome treat you could possibly give your dog: cooked bones, especially cooked chicken bones, or the bones left over from your dinner. This one trips up a lot of well-meaning owners because giving a dog a bone feels almost instinctual. It's practically the cartoon image of dog ownership. But here's the problem. Cooking changes the structure of bones, making them brittle and prone to splintering, unlike raw bones, which tend to be softer and more flexible. When a dog chews on a cooked bone, it can shatter into small, sharp fragments that can cause serious internal damage, cuts and punctures in the mouth, throat, esophagus, or intestines. And in more severe cases, those sharp fragments can actually perforate the intestinal wall, which is a life-threatening emergency requiring immediate surgery. Bone fragments can also simply cause blockages even without puncturing anything, leading to painful, dangerous obstructions that won't pass on their own. If you want to give your dog a bone as a treat or for dental benefits, it's much safer to stick with bones specifically designed and sold for dogs, or talk to your vet about safer alternatives, rather than handing over the leftover bones from your own dinner plate. Before we wrap up, I want to give you one bonus warning, because I couldn't leave this one out: macadamia nuts. These show up more than you'd think, in cookies, trail mix, and as a snack on their own. And they're another one of those foods that seems completely harmless, since they're just a nut. But macadamia nuts contain a toxin that specifically affects dogs, causing weakness, particularly in the back legs, along with vomiting, tremors, and a noticeably elevated body temperature, usually within 12 hours of eating them. The good news is that this one is rarely fatal on its own. Most dogs recover within 24 to 48 hours with supportive veterinary care, but it's still an incredibly uncomfortable and frightening experience for both the dog and the owner, and it absolutely warrants a call to your vet if it happens. Now let's talk about what to actually do if you ever find yourself in one of these situations, because knowing the right steps ahead of time takes so much of the panic out of the moment. First, try to figure out roughly how much your dog ate and when. This information genuinely helps your vet determine the right course of action. Second, do not try to induce vomiting on your own unless a vet or poison control specifically tells you to do so and walks you through exactly how, since inducing vomiting incorrectly or with certain substances can actually cause additional harm in some cases. Third, call your vet, an emergency animal hospital, or an animal poison control hotline right away, rather than waiting to see if symptoms develop. Since with several of these toxins, treatment is far more effective when it starts before symptoms even begin. And finally, if you can, bring the packaging or a sample of whatever your dog ate with you to the vet, since knowing the exact ingredient list can make diagnosis and treatment faster and more accurate. And I don't want you to walk away from this video feeling like every single thing in your kitchen is secretly out to get your dog. That's not the goal here at all. The goal is awareness, because the vast majority of these situations are completely avoidable once you actually know what to look out for. A dog who never has access to grapes, onions, xylitol products, avocado pits, or cooked bones is a dog who's never going to face these particular emergencies in the first place. Here's a practical habit I genuinely recommend to every dog owner. Take 5 minutes this week and do a walkthrough of your kitchen, your pantry, your counters, even your purse or bag, if you carry gum or snacks around with you. And specifically, look for anything on this list. Move anything you find to a spot your dog genuinely cannot reach, not just somewhere they usually don't bother with, because curiosity and a good nose can lead a dog to countersurf or dig through a bag in ways that surprise even experienced owners. It's also worth having a quick conversation with anyone else in your household, kids especially, about not sharing table scraps or snacks with the dog without checking first, since a lot of these accidental exposures happen because someone with good intentions simply didn't know. I also want to mention it's genuinely worth saving the number for an animal poison control hotline in your phone right now before you ever need it. In a real emergency, having that number ready to go, rather than frantically searching for it while panicking, can save precious minutes. And with several of the foods we talked about today, minutes genuinely matter. At the end of the day, being a great dog owner isn't about knowing everything all at once. It's about staying curious, staying informed, and being willing to double-check something before assuming it's safe, just because it seems harmless on the surface. The fact that you watched this whole video tells me you're exactly that kind of owner. I also want to say this because I think it's genuinely important. If you've ever accidentally given your dog one of these foods before watching this video, please don't beat yourself up over it. Almost every dog owner has done it at some point, whether it was sharing a piece of grape as a puppy treat years ago, or not realizing garlic powder was hiding in a seasoning blend. These foods are so common and so normalized in our own diets that it's genuinely easy to overlook the risk they pose to a completely different species with a completely different metabolism. What matters most isn't the mistakes made in the past. It's what you do with the information now, going forward. Every kitchen safety change you make from this point on is one less risk your dog will ever have to face. It's also worth remembering that dogs come in all different sizes, ages, and health backgrounds, which means sensitivity to these foods can vary quite a bit. A tiny amount that might cause barely any reaction in a large, healthy adult dog could be far more serious for a small breed puppy or a senior dog with existing health issues. This is exactly why the general rule among veterinarians is to treat all of these foods as off-limits entirely, rather than trying to calculate a safe amount, since there's simply too much variation between individual dogs to make that kind of guessing game worth the risk. If this video opened your eyes to something you didn't know was dangerous, I would genuinely love to hear about it. Drop a comment down below and let me know which one of these 5 surprised you the most. Or if your dog has ever had a close call with one of these foods. I read every single comment, and honestly, these stories help other owners recognize the same risks before something happens to their own dog. And if you know someone else who might have any of these sitting around their kitchen without realizing the risk, do them a favor and share this video with them. It really could prevent an emergency. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss more important pet safety videos like this one. Thanks so much for watching. Go check your kitchen tonight for me, and I'll see you in the next one.